Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about Mono Black Midrange? Control? Sure. Splinter Twin? It's all of these things. It's a really cool deck that has risen in popularity with the printing of Unstoppable Slasher, and I'm excited to talk about it and analyze the cards and talk about the overall strategy of the deck. So let's jump into it. So this is Mono Black Midrange. Now the overall strategy of this deck is that it's attacking on two different axes. Number one is that it's a pretty solid mid-range deck. It's running Hand Destruction and Duress and Thoughtseize, Fatal Push, Shieldred's Edict, Go for the Throat, and so it's looking to do the same thing as Mono Black in that it's 1-for-1 in the opponent out of the hand and on the board. Just instead of Fable the Mirror Breaker, we have Unholy Annex, where you draw a card at the end step of your turn, and you lose 2 life unless you control a demon, and you can pay 5 mana for Ritual Chamber to unlock that room to get a 6/6 black demon, so it kind of combos with itself, and we're running another demon as well. And so it has that really sweet mid-range plan, but it also has sort of a Splinter Twin thing going on in that it can just win. Between Unstoppable Slasher and Bloodletter of Aklazotz is probably how you pronounce it. Unstoppable Slasher is a 3-mana 2/3 death touch. And when it deals damage to a player, they lose half their life rounded up. So if my opponent's at 20, I jam, deal 2 damage to them, they go to 18, trigger Unstoppable Slasher, they go to 9. When Unstoppable Slasher dies, if it has no counters on it, return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with 2 stun counters on it. So it's really hard to answer as well without exile removal. Now, this combos with Bloodletter of Aklazotz, which say 2/4 flying for 4 mana. If an opponent would lose life during their turn, they lose twice as much life instead. Twice of half is whole, so if you have a Bloodletter and you connect with Unstoppable Slasher, you just win. And you can do this reasonably easily because you can get things out of the way with the removal spells, and make sure they don't have removal spells with their Hand Destruction or have blockers with the Hand Destruction, just win. So you can play this mid-range game with the rest of your deck while making them fear this just win combo that the mid-range game is actually really good at doing. As far as other cards in the deck, Castle Lothwain lets us continue drawing cards. Field of Ruin deals with problematic man lands and stuff that would block Unstoppable Slasher. Hive of the Eye Tyrant is great graveyard hate and, again, alternate win condition since we're kind of a control deck as well. Same thing with Mutavault. A whole bunch of swamps. A Takamuma just because it's free, we can get things back from the graveyard. And an Urborg to kind of make up for these colorless lands. Now we're running a playset of both Hand Destructions. The main deck for Duress is, again, mostly to get rid of removal spells out of our opponent's hand and just try to make it so we can combo much easier. And for Thoughtseize, and also Duress is just very good right now as well. For Fatal Push, obviously, it's just the best removal spell in the format, along with Go for the Throat and Shieldred's Edict. Shieldred's Edict noticeably being able to answer Planeswalkers really cleanly. 2 Reckoner Bankbuster just to draw us more cards in addition to the Unholy Annex that we already talked about. Graveyard Trespasser as a great mid-range card and additional graveyard hate. And Invoke Despair, which is very, very good against the enchantment decks, but also just insane against control and mid-range and just gets us really, really far ahead and advances the mid-range plan really dramatically. I can speak. It's fine. So the main deck is really straightforward as long as you understand that combo. As far as the sideboard goes, we have 2 cut down for these aggressive decks, just as mostly as Fatal Push 5 and 6. Costet Bronco is, again, it's kind of a Dark Confidant equivalent. We're siding this in against control and mid-range decks and really any deck that we can't rely on the combo against, especially decks that we don't really care about our life total. Go Blank, very good against Phoenix and control and whatnot. Shieldred is just very, very good against aggro. Decent against control, and is just like an additional threat. Additional Evoke Despair, which we've already talked about. March of Wretched Sorrow is a really good additional removal. It noticeably gains life, and we can exile a bunch of black cards from our hand in order to cast it. So gaining a ton of life against like the aggressive red-black deck or whatever is very good. Miko Massacre is a great board wipe, also just happens to, the trigger on the enchantment also just happens to be very good against Sack. And Unlicensed Hearse is our dedicated graveyard hate. This was actually a pretty fast deck tech because the deck is just so insanely straightforward and there's so many play sets. So I'm excited to analyze this deck a little bit more with future sideboard guides and flex slots and whatnot. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.